And I would like to call to order the DeKalb Planning and Zoning Commission meeting for this Tuesday, June 21st. Can I start with a roll call, please?
Becker?
Here.
O'Flaherty? Here. Kenya Graham? Stoker? Wright? McMahon?
Here.
Chair Maxwell?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. We'll look for an approval of the agenda unless there are any additions or deletions by anyone. If not, I'll ask for a motion.
I move to approve as written.
So moved by O'Flaherty,
Second.
seconded by Becker. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign. Thank you. We will review the minutes if there are any additions or deletions to the minutes from June 6th. If not, I will ask for a motion to approve.
So moved.
So moved by Becker,
I'll second.
seconded by McMahon. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Thank you very much. This is the audience participation portion of the show. If there's anybody that looks to speak to something that is not on the agenda for this evening, please step forward and state your name and address. If not, we will move on to new business. We have a public hearing, a petition by J&S Recovery and Towing for a special use permit for a vehicle tow facility and storage yard, and a variance to permit an 8-foot-high fence to serve as screening for a portion of the storage yard in lieu of the required 10-foot-high fence for the property located at 407 Industrial Drive. The staff report, please.
Well, the applicant give their...
Oh, I'm sorry.
presentation first.
Didn't realize he was here for the presentation. If the applicant would like to step forward and...
Good evening. My name is Tom Guthrie. I'm the regional manager for J&S Towing in DeKalb. Appreciate the opportunity to address you this evening. What we're here to do today is to kind of go over our plan for this proposed auxiliary lot that we'd like to utilize. J&S Towing's been in existence since 2019, and we received our special use permit for that impound lot at 110 Industrial Drive in 2020. Since that time, we've experienced an extreme amount of growth. We've been very busy. I currently have 5 staffed vehicles assigned to our facility. We also have upwards of 30 vehicles that we could call in if needed, which we sometimes have to do. We've taken on some towing contracts with city garages and the city of DeKalb, and we just have found that the storage, specifically of the city vehicles, impounded, what do you call them?
Article 36, or seizures.
The seizure vehicles have increased. I'm assuming that's because the city's attempt to clean up the northwest quadrant of the city. We've experienced a lot of arrest tows, and those vehicles all have to be held at least 180 days. So what we'd like to do is we'd like to utilize some property which is down the road from our facility at 407 Industrial Drive. It's the home to Pinkston Tad Roofing. He has about a 1.7 acre storage lot in the back of that, currently with an 8-foot or 6-foot fence with barbed wire on top of it, and then on the north end is 8-foot fence, which is the fence that belongs to Zimmerman Recycling. What we propose to do is we propose to fence the back portion of that facility, the west, east, and south ends of that 150 by 100 by 150 section that's in yellow there, with a 10-foot fence, site-proofed, which would meet the city's current standard. On the north end of the lot, that, like I stated, that fence belongs to Zimmerman. It's already an 8-foot site-proof fence. Their facility, I'm assuming, is the same use as what we have. Their stock storage is 15, 16, 20 feet tall. So we didn't feel that the addition of a higher fence would contribute any benefit to that area. Also, if we were required to put a 10-foot fence in, we were concerned about the maintenance of the area between the fence, because we'd have to do a setback of that fence. So we felt that, we talked to Mr. Olson, and he mentioned this variance option, so we're going to try to do that because we feel that is the best option for that part of it. The property currently has 8 cameras on the facility, 3 on the front, 3 on the back, and 2 on the south side. The south side of the building is where the access is to the lot. In addition to the 10-foot fence, we'd be adding a security fence or a security gate there that would remain locked at all times. We don't anticipate there'd be any public access to this area. We wouldn't be allowing public pickup of vehicles from this area. The vehicles would be moved down and stored, and then when if they were to be picked up or disposed of, then they would be moved back up to the 110 Industrial Drive facility, because that's what's set up for the public. We don't really feel this is the best use of having them in that lot. We don't feel it'd be advantageous to our business. So that's about where we're at. I don't know that I missed anything.
Okay. Staff report, please.
Yeah, the report is in your packet. Mr. Guthrie explained a little background of their operation. Currently at 110 Industrial, got a special use in 2020. Their operation at 110 Industrial, as you can see, their current location, and as I explained, they need auxiliary yard for extra space for storage. So they have been looking around, and this site came up. They're going to lease it, not own it. They're not going to operate or occupy the building. This is storage area to start, with 100 by 100 foot storage area in the back, far west end, shown in yellow there. As mentioned, to the north is Zimmerman Recycling, which has an 8-foot high already solid fence along their south property line. That's the front of Tad Roofing, the operation there. And that's shows from Industrial, showing Zimmerman Recycling. You can see that 8-foot high fence there on the side, and what it looks like pretty much their activity going on in there. So the UDO does require for these types of uses a minimum 10-foot high fence, solid screening to screen, which they have it in 110 Industrial. So they're proposing a variance just to use the 8-foot high fence on the north side that's on the Zimmerman lot. They didn't feel putting a 10-foot high fence there would really doesn't add any type of screening. It'd be a fence against a fence to a use that has more outdoor storage and debris and higher debris, et cetera. So they asked for a variance just to have that 8-foot high there on the north side. We did require or recommend for special uses, try to bring other things into compliance. The front of the building, we're recommending that prior to occupying the storage area in the back, they stripe the parking spaces, the number of required parking spaces based on number of employees, and also designate a handicap space, which they don't have. So they've agreed to do that. So that would be required. They'll also be required to comply with all the provisions of Chapter 25. That's a towing chapter in the municipal code. Licensing, that's through the police department. So there'll be recommendation tonight, goes to the city council. If they approve it, then they move into the licensing process through the police department. A little background on some of the towing operations. Levitt's Towing got a special use permit in 2009 on East Lincoln Highway. Allow for expansion. Some of that expansion they do have some gravel storage area in the back. As you can see, this site does have, it's paved in the front, of course, and then it's a gravel, other materials in the back. So we're not, the ordinance does allow us a little flexibility. We're not requiring, since there's no public access, we're not requiring any type of pavement back there. So it doesn't really make sense. Once they start paving a lot of area, then they have stormwater detention issues they'd have to comply with, and a costly thing. So it's an area that really is not needed for, to be paved. There's no public access back there. It's gated. So they plan to use this 100 by 100 foot, 50-foot area to start, but they would like to expand further to use an entire back area if needed in the future. So we do have a provision in there that if they do that within the year, and as long as it's still got to be fenced by 10 foot high on all sides except the north side, they can do that. And they can't go any closer to the street than the back of the building. So if they do that within a year, they can do that without coming back for an amendment to the special use. That's one of the conditions. In these other tow facilities, so we had Lovett's, and then 2015, there was Tri-State Towing on State Street, and then J&S in 2020 at the current location. We have these provisions common in all these, and we want to continue these restrictions about no stacking of vehicles, no stacking of vehicle parts higher than 8 feet. All the vehicles in operation have to be in the, can't be parked outside that storage area. No crushing of vehicles. And abandoned and salvaged vehicles can't be on the property longer than 90 days unless there's some court order that designate they have to be there longer. So we would suggest these conditions for this site too. And also to bring the site into further compliance, striping the parking in front with the handicap space being done prior to occupancy. So got the standards for a special use. So we're gonna have, there's two motions here. One's for the special use and one's for the variance. They do meet the criteria for special use. As stated here, it's a heavy industrial zoning, all along industrial. There's a lot of other locations next to it that have outdoor storage areas, compatible uses to the site. So they meet all the conditions as required in the UDO for special use permits. Findings of fact for the fence. So again, this having a fence against another fence, screening some use that is more outdoor storage and higher storage, just really didn't make sense. So staff would support the variance of 8 foot high fence. We do have a condition there with the variance. If that fence is removed by Zimmerman, they would have to put up a new 8 foot high fence screen in place of that within 90 days. So they meet the criteria for variance. Pretty much these are pretty much the same. Due to the fact that there's adjacent 8 foot high fence already. That's a use that's not, they're not screening another residential area. They're not, screening some lower intensity commercial use. The applicants didn't cause the variance. That fence has been there a long time. And also that use has been there for quite some time too. So they meet all the criteria for variance. And again, we had a condition that that fence is removed by Zimmerman. They have to put one up within 90 days of removal. So in terms of comments, I didn't get any comments at the posting, at the date. The agenda was posted last Thursday. We did get an email in this afternoon from Brett Jackson of Tri-State Towing that was, copy was provided to commission members indicating pretty much objecting to this. They're noting they have to comply with, or not complying with Chapter 35. So as I mentioned, those standards they have to be met. There's no exceptions to Chapter 35. They have to meet those. That licensing will occur after the special use permit, if approved. And some other comments regarding their operations and not agreeing with the variance. So I did call Mr. Jackson just to explain that they'll have to comply with 35. There's no exceptions, and they have a right to apply for variance. They have to meet the criteria for special use as required, and we believe they did, but this decision's up to the commission. So, as I mentioned, two motions. The first one's a special use permit, approving the special use permit for the tow facility and storage yard. Per the site plan, that shows, that's a plan here, Exhibit A, so that 10-foot high fence. And per the conditions on Exhibit B in the report, those are repeating the ones that we've done at the other locations, and also requiring that the striping of the parking in the front per the UDO and municipal code, and also expansion of the storage yard can occur if it's done within a year. If it's beyond that, then they would have to come back and amend the special use, have a hearing if they wanted to do that. So we'll deal with that motion first, and then we can go into the motion for variance.
Thank you, Dan.
Any questions?
We have a speaker request form from Mr. Jack Goodrich. Would you like to step forward?
For those of you that don't know who I am or where I live, immediately to the left of the yellow fence there's a gravel driveway, and this is south off of Lincoln Highway, is my private drive, and I live right adjacent and to the west of the property. So my concern was understanding the fencing, the privacy fence, because that's our family, that's where we have our reunions and gatherings and stuff. But after hearing what they're going to put up for fences, I don't really have any objection. We're used to having industrial people for neighbors. To be honest with you, we're in the county, we're not in the city. But that's home for us. And so I just wanted to be here to find out exactly what was going on. And so I don't have any objection, to be honest with you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Goodrich. If there's no one else to speak to the matter, we'll have any questions from the commission?
Yeah, actually, Mr. Goodrich was the one person that I really wanted to hear from, so that's what I needed.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Jack's answered my questions too, and then it seems like this email, Dan, you responded to Mr. Jackson?
Yeah, I
Email?
called him and responded,
And just going
discussed
through
that.
it, it seems like line by line, the issues in this email seem to be addressed.
Yeah.
Correct. They have to go through the same process as the others, special use and the variance request, which they met the criteria, as we're recommending, and that they comply with Chapter 35. There's no exceptions to that, and that will occur once again in the licensing and the security measures, the background checks, whatever is needed, and the PD administers that, so they have to comply with that.
Okay. If you'd like to speak to the matter, you can come forward and state your name and address.
My name's Andrew Bjornson. I'm the owner of J&S Recovery and Towing. My address is 114 Laurel Street, Batavia, Illinois. I just wanted to comment on two things, excuse me, just in reply to Mr. Jackson's concerns. One of the concerns was the cameras on the facility. I did bring pictures. There was how many?
There's 8.
There is 8 cameras that are on the property, and we plan on adding more, which I don't know that he knew was there. And I think that he may have misunderstood our plan. He had a concern about the employees at Pinkston Tad having access to the yard. I think in the original plan, he doesn't realize that there will be, the yard will be split. I don't know if Dan can go back to that photo in the yellow, but right there in the yellow, which would be to your right, yeah, right there, there's actually going to be a gate. So that's going to be 10 foot too. That will separate Pinkston Tad from the facility that J&S is going to occupy. And then like Dan said, we plan on eventually doing the whole fence. There's a couple reasons of why we can't right now. The biggest reason is material shortage. I didn't want to bring it to council to go with a shorter fence because I knew there'd be a lot of objections. But to be able to get 10-foot fence material, one is astronomical price right now, and it's very hard to get. So that's why we're going to fence in part of the area, and if more material comes available, we'll go ahead and do the rest of the yard. It's not in the near future, but there is future plans, could be 10 years from now, there is future plans of possibly purchasing the building. So within a year, we're going to try and figure out if we're going to expand. But I wanted to clarify that will be completely separated, and then it will basically be double gated. There is a gate right at the rear edge of the building. That's a 6-foot gate, and that is also fenced in, 6-foot fence with barbed wire. And then our fence would be 10 foot with a separate gate. So it would be separate from anybody that could access that during the day when Pinkston Tad's fence is open. Ours would be secured 10 foot all the way around, and then to the north 8 foot with a separate fence.
All right, thank you for clarifying. Any other questions? Okay, if not, I will ask for a motion on the special use permit.
Sure, I'll make it. Based on the submitted petition, testimony presented and findings of fact, I move the Planning and Zoning Commission forward its findings of fact and recommend to the City Council approval of a special use permit for a vehicle tow facility and storage yard located at 407 Industrial Drive for the site plan dated 5/31/22 and labeled as Exhibit A and per the conditions listed in Exhibit B.
So moved by Becker,
I'll second.
Seconded by McMahon. Roll call, please.
Becker,
Yes.
O'Flaherty,
Yes.
Pena Graham, Stoker, Wright, McMahon,
Yes.
Chair Maxwell,
Yes.
motion passes.
Thank you. I'll move the variance motion and ask for a first.
Oh, okay.
I'll make the
Oh, go
motion.
ahead. Thanks.
Based on the submitted petition, testimony presented, and findings of fact, I move the Planning and Zoning Commission approve a variance to Article 5.12.03 of the Unified Development Ordinance to allow an adjacent 8-foot-high site-proof fence to serve as screening along the north property line of the storage yard in lieu of the required 10-foot-high site-proof fence as shown on the site plan dated 5/31/22, labeled as Exhibit A and subject to the following condition. 1, if the adjacent 8-foot-high site-proof fence to the north is removed, the applicant shall construct an 8-foot-high site-proof fence on the north property line of the subject site within 90 days of the removal of the fence.
So moved by O'Flaherty.
I'll second.
Seconded by McMahon. All in favor, say aye.
Let's get a roll call.
Roll call? Okay. Roll call, please.
Becker,
Yes.
O'Flaherty,
Yes.
Pena Graham, Stoker, Wright, McMahon,
Yes.
Chair Maxwell,
Yes.
motion passes.
Thank you. Move to staff reports.
Yeah, just quickly, upcoming meetings. The July 5th meeting will be canceled. We will not have a quorum for that. The hearing we had scheduled that night for Brooks Elementary School for a modular classroom, we're going to have that hearing on July 18th, the next regular scheduled meeting in July, Monday night. We've sent out notices to the residents noting that change. We sent them out today or tomorrow, notifying them of that and put an ad in the paper to classified. So next meeting, July 18th, that'll be the one hearing. We may have another one. If we do, we'll send you an email on that. The comp plan update, as I mentioned before, we have 2 open houses coming up June 30th and July 14th, 4 to 6 p.m. here at the library. So we've put that on social media, posted on our website. We're sending it out to taxing districts, getting the word out. I did hear from Shannon Stoker that she could attend one of those. Again, if we have 1 or 2 commission members, that's a max of one of those.
Yes.
That'd be great. So just let me know about that. Then later this week, early next week, I can let you know what may work there. So appreciate that. And with the packets, I was just talking to Stephanie. We'll probably do, once we send, just a reminder, send out, when we do the posting on Thursday, when we send you the email, we'll send a calendar invite too, probably to you, so you can get those on your calendars, just reminders. We do have those Tuesday meetings. Seems like a lot of them coming up. We're going to have a budget season coming up where this room on our regular nights might be occupied, and we'll have to go to the police department. So I think we'll just do that. That's pretty easy. We'll just do that reminder also. So
Sounds good. Thank you, Dan. Anything else from the commission? If not, I will ask for a motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
Moved by O'Flaherty,
I will second.
seconded by McMahon. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign. So adjourned. I'm not going to let you get to it. I know it's coming.